Howdy, I'm Gordon Bruner and I'm the author of the Marketing Scales Handbook. Welcome to the Marketing Scales Ranch, where we collect and prepare measurement scales for you. So take time now to sit back and watch as we take a look at the latest production, which is the Marketing Scales Handbook Volume 5. We're going to give you sort of a tour of the book, and you can decide whether it's the right thing for you to use the next time you develop a survey, an experiment, or some kind of study where you need measurement scales. When you first open the book in Adobe Acrobat or Adobe Reader, you'll see the cover. Let's flip on down to the table of contents, and I would suggest that you read the preface, the acknowledgments, and particularly the introduction before you start using the book. Right now, I will be mentioning several of the things that are in the introduction. You'll also see in the table of contents page here the beginning of the names of the scales that are in the book. Now these names are ones that either the authors have given them or I have given them. In cases where my name is different from their name, it's because I'm trying to give similar measures similar names. For example, in this first page you'll see there's a lot of things that have to do with your affective response to a stimulus. You'll also see on this page that I have numbered the scales a couple of different ways. One is that each individual scale gets its own number, but also scales are on different pages. Now some of them only take one page to review. Others may take two, and there's some that actually go on for several pages because we know a lot about them over time, and I've reviewed many uses. What we're going to do now, though, is flip on down to a scale you might be looking for. Say, for example, you're interested in measuring how interested or engaged someone is in some stimulus or some situation, some product, some person, some thing. And the name that typically has been used in academia and scholarly marketing over time has been involvement. And as you can see here, there's been a variety of involvement scales. I can tell you that the one that's actually been used the most over time in academic research has been one called enduring involvement. And you see again, you can go to either the number of the scale or its page number. So I'm going to scroll on down here to approximately where the scale is. And if we're not quite there, we're going to back up a little bit here and find it. And there we are. The top field in all the scales is, of course, the title again. The second field will be a description of it. I try to tell you how many items are in the scale, the number of points on the response scale. I will tell you something about what it seems to be measuring. And there may be other information too, particularly if multiple people have used it over time and maybe have used it in slightly different ways. The next section gets at who developed the scale and when. And I try to give you references for that. Now, hopefully I was able to figure out the origin. In some cases, we just don't know. The authors who first used it didn't tell us. The next section gets at reliability of the scale. In particular, the type of measure that is reported by most scholars is internal consistency. And so you would typically want a higher number here. The next section is called validity. And again, this is getting at a very important concept when it comes to measures, and that is it measuring what it's supposed to measure? Because just because someone says I'm measuring X doesn't mean it actually measures X. Whether you're a practitioner or a scholar, that's a problem. The problem, though, for me in writing the book is very few authors give us information that help us understand its validity. But when it's known, when there's some information, I do report it here. In rare cases, there's another section I put in called comments, and it just kind of gets at issues that didn't quite fit in well in the other sections. References are always given, so you're going to know where I got my information, and you can turn to those articles, you can go to those books, those papers, and get more information. But finally, the last section, maybe the one that's the most popular, would be when I actually list the items that are used to measure the construct that in this case is called enduring involvement. Now, also what's unusual in this case is that since it's been used so many times, I'm actually going to list the items that particular authors use, because not all authors used exactly the same items. They ended up using subsets of those items. And so you can consider those. Now, another way you could find what you're looking for in the book is to jump to the end. And I'm going to hit now Control End. And we see here the subject index. So there's dozens of terms here that you can look at to help you figure out, what it is that might suit your purpose that you have in the questionnaire and the survey and the experiment you're trying to do. So if you find a term that's of interest to you, after that you'll see the page numbers on which that word is used. And you can turn to those and see if the scale that's described there fits your purpose. But maybe you're still not finding what you're looking for, because up to now everything I explained has to do with the name of the scale itself. Well, what if you're looking for something that comes from a particular person, for example, and you want to see if any of their work is referred to in the book? So let's say, for example, you recall from your studies someone named Rogers who studied innovation. And so we're going to have the search feature now look for the name Rogers in the book. Was he referred to in any of the reviews that were written of Scales? One has popped up here. Now this one has to do with compatibility, how compatible a product is with a person or their needs or lifestyle. But maybe that's not what you're looking for. That is the Rogers you were thinking of, Everett Rogers and his book Diffusion of Innovations. But that's not the one you were thinking of. So you hit click, you search, and it's going to look again. Yes, it found another one, ease of use. Now actually what Rogers talked about was complexity, but this measure is the other end of the scale. It's the name for the opposite of complexity, which is ease of use, and this is measured a lot, and especially in a lot of technology work, innovative technology. But maybe that's still not the one you were thinking of, so you hit it again, and it's now going to search the rest of the book, seeing if Rogers is mentioned anywhere else. And indeed, there is one more time that he's mentioned. Relative advantage. This gets at whether innovation is better than what it's replacing. Maybe that's the thing you're looking for. So what I've described here in the last few minutes are the variety of ways you can search for either scales or people or even other things in the book that are of interest to what you're doing in your own research. Well, I hope that tour gave you a taste of what the book's all about. If you have any other questions that I can help you with, don't ever hesitate to send me an email at gcbii@marketingscales.com, and I'll get back to you as fast as I can, try to help you out. Until later, happy trails to you.